Good morning, everyone. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Applause. Let me check the audio. Morning. It's fine. Oh, wait. /. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Nice. How are we all doing? Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Applause. My name's Graham Day. I'll read. Ads is spamming something. What is that? Is that a phone? I can't tell. Good morning, Ads.
I'm just opening it. What is it?
It looks a bit like a phone. I'm going to say phone. Good morning, Lake. I see you there. I see you. Hey, how are we all doing? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the only stream of the day. Well, the only scheduled stream of the day. For those of you who don't know, we do go live each and every single day at 10 a.m.-ish with a scoop, but we also have gameplay and stuff afterwards. Yesterday, Bibby jumped on for a bunch of Pez Fun Times, and he was joined by me for two of the most exciting draws the world has ever seen. Yay, fun times. But yeah, this is the only stream of the day because it's Tuesday. We're busy. You know how it is? It's nice. Anyway, babe, how's things?
Yes, perfecto, Graham. Perfecto. What about you?
Yeah, not too bad. Although I think we may have a little bit of a delay because I asked that then and then I was sat there for like 3, 4. I was like, Bibby's just ignoring me. But it's fine. We get it. It's fine. Whatever. Anyway, welcome in, everyone. If you're in the chat, please feel free to let us know if you are here. For those of you that may have missed it, my name is Graham. This is Bibby, and in true ice creamy fashion, this is the scoop. The reason I say ice creamy fashion is because I didn't even mention that we are ice cream uploads. But in true ice creamy fashion, this is the scoop, the UK's #1 video game podcast. Even if we do say so ourselves, we are here to bring you your daily dose of news from the world of video games and beyond. We give you our thoughts and impressions each and every single weekday on twitch.tv/ice cream uploads, which is where we are right now. Anyway, we give you those thoughts and impressions, and we want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions. We do go live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m. without fail, on the money, on time, always punctual, present, and available at 2 minutes past 11. So 10 a.m.-ish. 10 a.m.-ish. We do go live at 10 a.m.-ish. We do have any more, as Mad just put, 11 a.m.-ish. Let's go in the chat. So we go live at 10 a.m.-ish, and we want your thoughts and impressions live on Twitch. And it's important that you do give us those impressions, though, because we turn this live stream into a podcast, a video on YouTube, and an audio podcast that goes on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So if you're in the chat, please feel free to get involved on behalf of everyone else watching and listening on demand a little bit later on. Nice. Before we jump into the show, a couple of reminders. ! Loot drop. If you are a subscriber and you want to get something free, then just do what Spike does. Just win it all the time. It's fine. Spike won a copy of Valheim, which actually looks specifically like a copy of Outriders last week. But he didn't want Valheim. He had it already. He chose Outriders. But it's fine. He won a copy of Outriders. We're going to do another giveaway this week. We still need to decide what it is, but if you want a chance of winning it, then just make sure you drop yourself a little bit of a sub. It's nice. I mean, it doesn't have to be a tier 3, tier 2, even a tier 1. It could just be a prime, whatever you want to do. And also another reminder that !! Muscle Moose. It's getting warm outside. You want yourself a nice kind of tropical, maybe some sweet apple. Yeah, maybe you can see. Let's jump to Big Bib Cam. I mean, look at that on the shoulder behind him. Absolute representation up there. Yeah! ! Muscle Moose. You want to get yourself some drinks, maybe even some snacks, a flapjack, some crisps or something. Get yourself 25% off using the code with ! Muscle Moose. We don't get paid anything for that, by the way. That's just a little bit of a discount that we've had set up for you. Nice. Madge, how's things, dude? Good morning. Good morning, Gagad, as well. Good day, sir. How? Okay, first things first, I'm going to be absolute British man now. How is the weather? Because it actually looks pretty tasty here. I have a formal call this afternoon, which is why I have my hair done and I have a collared shirt on today. Yeah, I know. But it's literally I've got a thick polo shirt on. And it's pretty warm. I've got the window open, blue skies and sun. So yeah, obviously, as soon as you wear a polo shirt, the sun arrives. How is it for everyone else? What's it like over there? Actually, do you know what? I'm asking everyone else around the country what the weather is like. I don't even need to know about around the country. On Saturday or Sunday, whatever it was, I'm out walking with sunglasses and shorts because it was glorious blue skies. Bibby sends me a picture. It looks like he's in the fucking Arctic Circle.
It was so bad. Like I'd come back from golf. I went up to the clubhouse, and the whole of the 1st and the 18th, which is the ones that you can see right out the gate at the golf club, were covered in snow and ice. So I come back, and it was just everything was white. Everything was about this deep as well. So like everyone's taking it dead easy going up the hills, and it's because we're on the top of a hill where I live. So everyone's taking it easy as they're going down them. And it's bonkers. So I texted it to Graham, and he was like, "No, pretty sunny here, mate. Got my sunglasses on." I'm like, "What the fuck? You're literally 20 minutes down the road. It makes no sense."
Bizarre. Blue skies here, but who knows what it'll be like in 5 minutes, says Gargad. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the situation. Exactly. Amazing weather over here in Germany, says Jenkins. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less because I want to see a rainbow high in the sky. Okay. If anyone's seen Jenkins' content, you'll know exactly what that means. I want to see the sunshine after the rain. Okay. Madge says, not bad, just waiting for my work allocation. It's bright, cold, and has the feeling it's going to rain. Ooh, boo. RGB fans, LEDs of my PC adapted to the weather. Nice. I have such an earworm whole week. I've just done that to Bibby this morning with a bit of Shauna Paul. Yeah. Feel that trend now. Yeah. Shauna Paul. Somebody go so then. Okay. Anyway, that's enough of that. Should we talk news?
I just don't get any respite from it though. Because if it's not you, it's Samantha.
Nice. It's all right. I'll find a few other people. Bibby starts. I'm going to go to golf and get away with it. I'm going to find out who goes to the golf course, and I'm just going to get them to if there's a jukebox or whatever, in the 19th hole, I'm just going to get it so that someone just puts 50p in, and Bibby sits there, nice cold pint of crisp lager, and it's like, yeah. Fuck's sake! Feel that trend.
Don't need that.
Anyway, let's talk games news. You may have seen it. We've already tweeted the lead story out, but Activision could have something difficult on their hands. Obviously, if you've been a fan of Call of Duty, and if you've not been a fan of Call of Duty, then you've probably heard of the word Warzone. It's one of the biggest games over the last, is it about 18 months? I don't know. Over a year-ish. Anyway, so that's the name that as soon as you mention Warzone, you instantly think of Call of Duty's Battle Royale. Tharian Drake, good morning, evening, whatever time of day it is. Thank you very much for the party of 6. Dropping the raid. Appreciate it, Tharian Drake. It's been a while. How the devil are you, sir? Are you good? Epic Skills there as well. Hey, it's been a while too. How's things? It's both.
Morning, guys.
So yeah, we're just talking about, just jumping into our first news story, actually. Warzone is a word that you will probably associate with Call of Duty now. However, that might not be the case. This is our first news story, written by Josh Coulson at The Gamer. It says, Activision is forced to battle for Warzone's name following a cease and desist. A browser-based game called Warzone has been around since 2017. It's only 56 minutes old, this article. Woo! On the ball. Activision remains...
Fresh.
Yeah, exactly. Activision remains in a legal battle over the use of the Warzone trademark thanks to a browser-based game of the same name. Call of Duty Warzone recently celebrated its first anniversary, and what a year it has been. However, Activision has been unable to shake a lawsuit pertaining to its ownership of the Warzone trademark. As reported by PC Gamer, it turns out there is another game called Warzone, one that predates COD's use of the name, a web-based game which is also available on mobile that anyone can play for free. In a move that very much goes against the grain when it comes to these kinds of things, original Warzone developers Fizzer issued Activision a cease and desist in 2020. Since COD's Warzone still goes by its original name, that order clearly hasn't taken. Activision has reacted via a complaint regarding the order. Fizzer's original cease and desist claims consumers may be confused as to which game is which. Activision's complaint is rather brutal in its phrasing and reads, quote, "It is inconceivable that any member of the public could confuse the two products or believe that they are affiliated with or related to each other." It also refers to Fizzer's Warzone as a, quote, "low-budget, niche virtual board game like Hasbro's Risk," end quote. Wow! Not only do the creators of the web game want Activision to stop using Warzone, but they're also seeking monetary relief for the alleged damage done during the past year. Activision's complaint reveals that Fizzer's game has existed since 2017, a full 3 years before COD Warzone was released. Fizzer appears to have the upper hand in that regard, but whether it can beat a behemoth the size of Activision in court is another matter entirely. Just last month, Activision forced the closure of SBMM Warzone, an unofficial stat tracking site that claimed it violated its terms of use. The owners of the site even attempted to work with Activision in an attempt to keep the site up and running, but no luck. If the studio was willing to go after a site that was trying to cooperate, just imagine what it would be willing to do to one that has actively come after it. Interesting. Interesting. There we go. Bosh. So, Bib, would you like to play Call of Duty War game
Oh,
or something else, because it might not be called Warzone. What are your thoughts? Cease and desist over the name. Can you see Activision having to step back on this? What are your thoughts?
no, they're not going to step back from this. I mean, looking at the games, I mean, they've just been, it's like the article said, absolutely brutal. Basically, and Farian's just put it in there. Yo, bro, your game's trash. Why would we want to mix our game with yours? Like, they're two completely different games. Like, so I don't think anybody's going to get them mixed up. Put it this way, I had never heard of the other game before until I read this article this morning, which is obviously why I made the clickbaitist title that you're probably ever going to see in your life. But it's, yeah, there's no way that anybody is ever confusing these two products together. I don't understand. Do they think that they've got a leg to stand on with this just because like it's Call of Duty Warzone? It's not just Warzone. Like, but a lot of people will probably just drop the Call of Duty because as soon as you say Warzone, there's only one game that you're thinking of. And believe me, it's not this B-Tech Hasbro Risk game like they've said. It's nothing like that. So, I'm going to put this back to you. Do you think that they've even got a chance?
See, I was going to post something, but Iceman's kind of stolen my thunder. So let me show you. I've got a tweet ready to post. I didn't want to post it until we'd gone through the article. But if anyone's got a chance of getting the name, it's WWF, not even WWE. Because I was playing Warzone back in 1998 on the PlayStation. So, okay, I'm going to tweet that now. I'll tweet in a minute. So, do I think they've got a chance? Maybe. And the reason I say maybe is because I don't know how it works in video games as such. There is previous of bands and artists having to change their brand after launching themselves because someone else that isn't even in the same vertical, they make music but different music, but because they've got the same name, they've had to change it. A really cheesy example is back in the day when, was it Pop Stars, or I think it was either Pop Stars, it might have been pre-X Factory kind of days. There was
Pop Idol,
that's the one. Liberty, who came second, I think it was. Was it the Groups? I can't remember what it was. Anyway, a band called Liberty formed off the back of one of these programs and had to change their name because there was another band or group, I think from maybe even the 70s, quite far back, called Liberty. So they had to change their name to Liberty X. And this is something that's not just a small brand. This is something that came from, obviously, 9 months of ITV front and center, Simon Cowell's Psycho Business and everything backing them, and they had to change their name. So if they have to change their name, I mean, it's not a like for like carbon copy of an example, but that's one that pops to mind. So if they can do it, then maybe it could go the other way.
Don't ask me why I know this, but Little Mix had to do the same as well.
Oh, really?
It was called Rhythmix in. That definitely was X Factor. It was originally called that when they put them all together because it was all individual singers, weren't they? And they put them into a super group called Rhythmix. But there was a charity somewhere in the UK called that, so that's why they ended up taking Little Mix instead. Don't ask me why I know that. Something that's a little bit more bibby. That's why Resident Evil's called Resident Evil over here and Biohazard over in Japan because they couldn't use the word biohazard for a game over in the western side, so that's why it's called Biohazard over in Japan and Resident Evil over here because they can't. That's what the same game called two different things elsewhere in the world. So yeah, I don't using that as an example. Have they got a chance? Maybe, but I think the Call of Duty beforehand, Call of Duty's Warzone. I think that may be the little saving grace for them.
I mean, Slim Rock, very good point. I mean, I've just tweeted the WWF Warzone pack shot. Great point. WWF. Too close to the. Is it the World Wildlife Fund? Is that what it stands for?
Yeah.
So too close to that. So they
Fund Foundation.
Foundation. Something along those lines. It's not about smacking people with steel chairs. Although I did see someone with a really cool T-shirt the other day. I was on a walk into town to get a brew, and some guy had a WWF T-shirt, and you instantly see when you see the Panda WWF logo, it's one of those things. It's like a BMW logo or something like. You know what it is. And as I was walking up to him, I could just see this panda and the WWF font. And then as I got a bit closer, there's another panda stood behind that panda holding up a steel chair. I was like, that is fucking genius. I was like, Daniel, look how cool that.
It's quality. That's been going around for years. I'm surprised that they were allowed to get away with that. It must be like a Fruit with the Loom T-shirt or something like that.
Someone Teespring store that's not got. Yeah. Hopefully nobody notices. But yeah, if WWF can have it, pushed onto them, then you kind of feel it. I mean, let's unpack it a little bit. So obviously, Activision have absolutely puffed out their chest and gone, yeah, but people play our game, mate. That's basically what they've said. And like, fuck you. Everyone knows we are Warzone. And yeah, all right, I agree. Most people of certain ages will have never heard of WWF, the foundation, fund, whatever you want to call it, but they will have heard of WWE. So does that mean that WWE has more right to puff their chest out? We know you're a charity, we know you started first, but we're bigger and more famous, so fuck off.
Yeah.
So just because they are more famous, and chances are people in this chat or watching this stream, watching this video, will have played Warzone of the Call of Duty variety over the mobile variety. I didn't even know that was a mobile game. That said, they got there first. And arguing on behalf of the mobile game, they will absolutely have lost money. Absolutely will have lost money for this. Because if people were searching for Warzone game, they will never ever find that. If I let me type it now. Warzone game. Let me see if I see anything for that. Call of Duty Warzone. Call of Duty Warzone YouTube recommendation. Call of Duty Warzone trailer. Call of Duty Warzone Wikipage. The Guardian. Why is Call of Duty Warzone an all-time great horror game? Warzone Battle.net. All the way down to the first page. Major League Gaming. Blogs and all sorts of stuff. There is no mention of that Warzone mobile game. Whereas if you in 2017, if you'd have typed Warzone game, you absolutely would have found that game. So yes, there is no similarities. Yes, they are completely different games, and Call of Duty's use their own game. They're not trying to infringe on them, but what they have done is stepped in and taken a name that is incredibly similar. So if WWE and WWF, which are two very different businesses, have to rebrand, if Little Mix and Rhythmix have to keep be distinguished, then Warzone and Warzone, you kind of feel, okay, maybe you'd think Activision have got it boxed off because they're big and the powerhouses, but have they? Do they have the right? I mean, they probably would get the right to it, but it would probably cost them an absolute shitload of money. Let's jump back through the chat.
I mean, surely there's a caveat in there somewhere, though.
Go on, continue.
There has to be a caveat in there somewhere, just because it's not. They all uses the same word, but it's in a completely different context. So it's Call of Duty's Warzone. Theirs is just called Warzone. Like, where's the distinguishing? It's not even the same game. It's not even the same genre. It's not even on the same platform. It's not even aimed at the same audience. So where would the distinguishing factor be for who owns what? Like, is this? I imagine this case has been seen a million times with other different IPs around the globe. So I don't understand why this now is becoming a problem. Is it because it's Call of Duty and they think they can get a quick buck out of it? Like, it's not called the exact same thing. It's something that's completely different. I don't know.
Yeah, there's been examples of people trying it on as well. I mean, the one that always comes to mind, because I pretty much earwormed myself with the wrong information, even though it wasn't a song. I remember seeing someone taking J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter to court because they believed that it infringed on his story of a boy who was a wizard. And I swear the name was something that sounded like Harry Potter. So in my mind, that was it. Barry Trotter. That's what it was. That's the name of the name of the character. It wasn't. But I'm pretty sure it was Gary something. Maybe even, I don't know, whatever. Whatever the name is, it's irrelevant. But they went after Harry Potter and the courts were like, yeah, you can just see something that's a multi-million-dollar franchise. And you think, okay, well, if we just even get a settlement, then I'm quids in. So no, we're not letting you have it. Get out. So you can kind of see that. That said, though, this definitely did exist. This was a mobile game in 2017. Yeah, probably not great. If it was out in 2017 and we're in 2021 and we're only hearing it now because of another game, it wasn't exceptional. But does that, the fact that it wasn't great and it didn't get column inches, everything is subjective. So just because the majority of people didn't pick it up, I mean, sometimes great games don't get picked up. So I'm saying it's not great. It might have been great, but just because it wasn't from a behemoth, should it be slapped down. It's quite a difficult one. It's got Larry Snotter. There you go, Gary Clark, Rodney Trotter. Let me jump back through the chat then, so before it scrolls away quite a bit. Mr. Gary Clark. There we go. Morning, Shaggers. Even further than that, it's called COD Warzone though, not just Warzone, so it's safe, right? I mean, everything I see says it as COD, well, Call of Duty, Warzone. So I would assume so, but it just depends. I mean,
even on their logo, it says it like that. It's always if you typed in Warzone logo, like I did for the thumbnail today. If you're watching this on YouTube, you would have seen it. It says Call of Duty and then Warzone in big letters underneath. Like I think you'd be hard pushed to try and find one that just says Warzone in the Call of Duty font. I haven't tried to look, so it may be incredibly easy, but all the ones that I found that I needed and wanted all said Call of Duty Warzone underneath. So I'd class it all as the same thing.
I mean, the interesting thing is in the logo and in any brand referencing, it's Call of Duty Warzone. But I've just opened up the Activision blog. So you can see here, Call of Duty Warzone. Introducing a game-changing free-to-play experience, Call of Duty, registered trademark, Warzone. A new massive combat experience with up to 150 players from the world of Call of Duty Warzone. So everywhere, 3 times already, Call of Duty Warzone. The first paragraph, welcome to Warzone. A massive new combat experience, blah, 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 blah. Second sentence, Warzone is a game changer. So Warzone will be live tomorrow. So read on to get the details on Warzone. The world of Warzone, Battle Royale and Plunder. So it's the brand messaging definitely has Call of Duty Warzone in the logo and stuff, but they also definitely just use it as Warzone, as you would, because you wouldn't exhaustively call it Call of Duty Warzone. Like when we play PES, we don't sit there and say, hi, we're playing eFootball PES 2021 or Pro Evolution Soccer 2021 or whatever. You get the idea. You naturally would shorten it, so they do call it Warzone. So even the argument of it having Call of Duty in the logo, interesting. I mean, I do not know enough about licensing and branding and copyrights and trademarks and so on to know which way this would go. But with the examples that we've not even gone through all of the chat yet. There's probably more, but the examples we've thrown in, there's definitely there's a reason why it's the lead story of the day, because it could go either way, in my opinion. I mean, does anybody know? Let's jump through the chat, see if anyone has any more nuggets.
Maybe they have to trademark it going forward, and it'll just be called every single time they mention Warzone, like you just mentioned there in the header, on the website and everything. It's Call of Duty Warzone, and then so you get into the meat and bones of the article that they're writing about, it just says Warzone. Maybe it will be that every single time they want to mention the Warzone name, they have to put Call of Duty Warzone TM or something like that next to it.
Imagine him sat there on like Jeff Keighley there, Gamescom opening night live, and we've got Mr. Developer from the Activision team. I don't know any Activision developers anymore, so I don't. It used to be like Josh Olin and was it 402 and whatever, but I don't know who's in charge of it. Anyway, so we've got Mr. Developer from Activision here now. We want to ask you a few questions about Warzone, and you could just see him going, I don't know anything about that mobile game, but Call of Duty Warzone, I can talk to you about at length. It's like, no. Okay.
It's just a simple Control and H, find and replace, Warzone to Call of Duty, Warzone. Easily done.
Ouch! Shots fired. Activision says Epic Skill. Then I've just got to your comment there. The comment there from Tharian Drake that you read out earlier on. Did they say, "Yo, bro, your game's trash"? Why would they mix our game with yours? Yikes! Morning Shaggers. Any chance this is a publicity and marketing thing from the board game? It's not even. It's like a mobile board game-ish thing, but it could be, absolutely. Who in the chat had heard of this game before this? I mean, obviously, it might not be a publicity thing, but if it is, it's definitely working, because we're talking about it. I'd not heard about it before, and I have now. Iceman says, reminds me of McDonald's versus Supermac. Tharius say, if they got a chance, COD has 1,000,001 lawyers that would wrap this up with so much red tape that the other company would bleed them dry. It's not about getting the name. They probably do have a chance, but surely COD will just throw enough money at this site to get them to be the ones to change. Do you know what? I genuinely think that is it. Without knowing any more details, I think it's, okay, we made a game that came out in 2017 that's 4 years old, and we have been gifted a chance at a free payday, so we might as well take it. That's what I would think. My knee-jerk reaction, because we've seen it so many times in different forms of media, that's where I would go. Not saying it is, but that's where I think it would go. Does this mean journalists can't say they're in a war zone anymore? Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Although that does have a space in between it, so that's 2 words. It's completely different then when you've got 2 words. I mean, God. Maybe they're in a battlefield. Oh no! I'm not in a war zone. I'm in a battle. No, I'm not in a battlefield. I'm in a. I'm on the battlefront. No, I'm not on that either. I'm. Fuck.
Just piss both sets of people off. Call of Duty is Warzone Battlefield. There we go. Perfect.
And that got to the actually WWF had to rename because of the charity, and that got to the point where they had to blur the WWF and the rings and stuff on DVD releases of old shows. David says, I like the marketing.
It's still on the network now. That still happens.
Get the F out. Did they actually have to get that far? I didn't realize they had to go back and get rid of the old stuff. That's incredible.
Yeah. It's all just blurred. If you go onto the network now and try and watch any of the old WWF stuff, even like annoyingly, in fact, I've got this here. It's not quite the real deal, but it's WWF logo at the top when someone's carrying the is it the eagled belt? Is that what it's called? The winged eagle belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, the winged eagle. So the WWF that's at the top there. They have to blur that out. So when The Rock's got it over his shoulder or something, or Stone Cold, it's just blurred at the top. That's the lengths that they've had to go to try and cover it up.
Wow. See, that's where it seems petty to me. It's like, okay, you've made them change the entire business name. You don't need them to go back and blur videos from back in the day. People that are watching videos from 2007 know what WWE and WWF is.
Well, if like my brother now is 15, he wasn't even around when the Attitude Era was. So if he was to watch that for the first time, he's like, "Why has everything been blurred out? What's going on here?" Then I'll have to tell him, and he's just like, "That sounds a bit lame."
This is where we need to start like some sort of alternate story. Well, the WWE logo, nobody realized at first, but the designers actually hid a willy in it. What? What?
That would be class.
Where did we get to? Linkin Park had to change their name back in the day as well. They wanted to be Lincoln Park, but had to change it slightly to get a domain name. See, that one I can understand. Like the reason we are Ice Cream Uploads is because we wanted something. We wanted to be ice cream because our main company is jelly, but ice cream obviously has been taken everywhere. And then official ice cream gaming, all the usual sort of stuff. They were either a bit gash, a bit samey, or taken. We couldn't get them, so we went for something a bit different and went for Ice Cream Uploads. So there you go, fun facts. In before when we get massively famous and we just buy up all the ice cream domain names and the uploads get dropped. So if you get any Ice Cream Uploads merchandise, then keep hold of it, because in a few years there may be no uploads. You know, we may be downgrading the uploading or something. Yep, nice. Clinton Cards are playing a dangerous game using that name. Clinton Cards. I don't get it. The only thing I can think of is Bill Clinton. I don't know. Yeah. Ironically, the World Wildlife Fund is known globally, except US and Canada, as the Worldwide Fund for Nature. See, I thought that, actually. When I was saying it, like, I thought it was the Worldwide Fund. But there you go. Yeah. Call of Duty Warzone probably copyrighted the name. I wouldn't watch somebody else call Time for a Bong on Twitch. Well, neither would I. You are the only Time for a Bong I would watch on Twitch. So do you know what? Yeah, absolutely. Doesn't matter if they've trademarked the name. It just comes under the category of video games. Doesn't matter about genre. Interesting. I think they're trying to either a quick buck or they're trying to get clickbait. Essentially, it's like a small streamer trying to go into a big streamer's chat and self-promoting themselves. Yeah, well, occasionally I go into a streamer's chat called Tharian Drake, and I use my emotes because he's big time, and our emotes. I mean, he does designs and emotes and stuff, but we also have emotes. So I want to steal his thunder and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just a way roll. Yeah, in before Tharian Drake drops a cease and desist. Fuck. The main reason WWF had to change to WWE is because Vince got greedy and started using WWF outside of wrestling setup, WWF E-Music Group, and film studios. There you go. Learning every day. But again, if I released a drink called Slim Rocks Pepsi, I doubt I'd get away with it. You try it. Try it and let us know how you get on. Let us know. Mr. Robo Daniel, good morning. It's been a while. Didn't they just shut down a website due to it being called SBMM Warzone? Yes, they did. They did. So clearly they're after the name Warzone on its own. I mean, that's the thing. It wasn't called SBMM COD Warzone. So they were arguing that it was too close to the branding. So it's kind of like, okay, well, it's you're fighting over someone else's name. Is that what it was? But he did mention that just last month, Activision forced the closure of SBMM Warzone, and unofficial stat tracking claimed that it violated its terms of use. I mean, within that, they did have some stuff about using the API without permission and getting permissions to use people's data on the site and stuff. They were kind of going after that angle as well, so they could say, okay, well, it wasn't just the Warzone name. They probably get away with it still at that point. But yeah, sending cease and desist, says Sean Connery. They clearly know what they were doing when it came to the name. Darren Developer, yeah, Mr. D Developer at Activision. Who is the main guy? I mean, Dr. Disrespect always names him. I can't remember. I don't know if it's Treyarch dude. Anyway, whatever. I can't remember who the active lead devs are anymore. Asking if we've heard of this game kind of proves the point from the people behind the title over the validity of the lawsuit. That's the thing, though. I mean, it kind of proves their point in an essence, but just because that's their point, it's not the only angle, though, is it? So in terms of, has anyone heard of it? No. But is it?
I rest my case, Your Honor.
But it's just kind of like, yeah, it was still there, whether you'd heard of it or not, kind of thing. So yeah, you could argue that they didn't do their due diligence and check to see whether someone had that name already. Gary says they don't have a leg to stand on. The Activision legal team would have checked the name of upcoming products they have, so this sort of thing doesn't happen and getting them sued. I think more likely they assessed the risk associated with using a name that may have been used and decided based on the level of risk. Iceman says Vince actually said WWF on Raw in November during the farewell Undertaker stuff. It's just a slip of the tongue. Not even a slip of the tongue. It says WWE. It's just his accent. It sounded like an F. Yeah, nice. I'd buy more from Clinton's if it was called Bill Clinton's cars. I just tried it. Hey, follow me, guys. Yeah, everyone drop time for a bong. A little bit of follows. Just tried it. Lawyers instantly at the door. Slim Rocks Pepsi with 3 P's and a Z. Pep Z. In before independent software developer Mike Rosoft gets a cease and desist for simply existing. He's already been cease and desist. Have you heard of Mike Rosoft? Exactly. They've already silenced him. I wrote a book called The Book of Dan. It doesn't sell well, but it exists. If someone writes one with the same title and it's more popular, does that mean it's okay? Surely then that means that those who have the budget to market their product get the right to fuck over people who may not have been so successful. Exactly. That's kind of the issue is, like, your product has been successful. Is the product successful because of the budget, or is it successful because it deserves to be successful? Some products that deserve to be successful don't get success ever, and some may get it later on in life. Among Us is a very low budget, very low number of developer team, a resource light and a budget light team. And that went for, what was it about? It was about 18 months before it finally started to get some traction. And then obviously won all sorts of awards, critical acclaim. Everyone loves it. It's great, even though you're playing the game rather than the game playing the game. The game plays you. But if something else came out with Among Us in the meantime, and they didn't have the money and they didn't have the fame, but they had a game that could be successful. I mean, in that sense, Among Us could have been taken to court and gone, actually, we made the game first, but Call of Duty Among Us came out. and they took our name. And yeah, we're not successful yet, but we could have been. How do they know that they never would be, kind of thing? So yeah, it is like you say. If you've got the money, if you've got the lawyers, if you've got the suits, if Call of Duty gets away with this in that sense, then does that set a precedent then, so that anyone who's tiny, it don't matter if you've protected yourself, you've bought your domain names, you've created your branding, you've gone through all of the due diligence of setting up your brand, someone that's bigger just wanted it, so took it. Is that fair? Is that fair?
I see. I still don't see it like that. I think that if Call of Duty just called it Warzone and it wasn't affiliated with Call of Duty whatsoever, but it was using the Call of Duty engine, and you knew it was around the Call of Duty franchise, but it was just called. I think they kind of covered the back with the Call of Duty : Warzone. I think that's not technically all they needed to do. That means all the words ever, like how many Road to Glory stuff do we see on FIFA and Pro Evo and stuff like that? I know it's kind of different, but everyone uses the same phrase because they're all trying to do the same things. But I don't think this is as close as what people are making it out to be. Yes, it has the same words in there, but there is a million different IPs out there with very similar wordings, and I don't think they've even come close to being sent to court for whatever defamation of character or whatever it is that may be putting forward. But I don't think this is far too distinct for it to even be considered. I think they've done enough market research to know that if they include their name and then they just call it something at the end of it, they'll probably get away with it.
It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one because whilst that's a valid opinion, it's also bullshit and completely wrong. So get out.
Okay.
No, it is because you can take it either way. That's what she said. You can take it either way in terms of is it different? Yes, it's Call of Duty Warzone as the registered trademark, but even in their first blog, in their first paragraph, they start two separate sentences with the word Warzone. They know it's going to be referred to as Warzone. They may have trademarked Call of Duty Warzone, but who plays Call of Duty World at War? No, I played World at War. Who played Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare? No, do you want to play game Modern Warfare? Who plays Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2? No, do you want to play Modern Warfare 2? It's that sort of thing, and nobody references the Call of Duty, and they know that, even though that's the full product title, that's not what it's going to be called 95% of the time. And being similar,
you could use the same thing.
Similar, in terms of Battlefield and Battlefront, they're similar. The shooty games, obviously, the same company owns them both, so they're not going to sue themselves. But similar is not the same as the same. And Warzone, that's what it boils down to. Whilst it is Call of Duty Warzone, it just gets called Warzone, and the game Warzone just gets called Warzone. So it's beyond similar in that sense. It's very, very, very similar, as in the same. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Well, you've got. I know this is a stupid comparison. I don't know why I'm going here, but it's just the same.
Let's go. Let's take it.
Right, so you always got Call of Duty Warzone, which is a battle royale game. It's a shooter game. I have no idea what this Warzone game is. If they're saying it's like a Hasbro Risk game, we'll say it's a turn-based board game for the sake of this.
It's a low-budget niche virtual board game like Hasbro's Risk. That's what it is.
So this is football, v Ronaldo football. Let's build. Well, that's a soccer team. FIFA football. Like, all of these games have the word football in there, and they all try to do the exact same thing. It's a simulation of a football game. Same wording, because that's what it is. Like, it's surely that's along the same lines. It has to be.
I think that's
they're all trying to do the same thing, but with using the word football, just different words around it to make it stand out from something else.
I think that's a little different though, because football is a specific activity. I don't think you can copyright the word football, just like you can't copyright the word war. But Warzone, actually, you probably can't copyright the word war. But Warzone as a product, I mean, football. I don't know. I don't have the words, but yeah, football is basically a phrase that can't be copyrighted there. The wording around it. So, like you said, like if you said Ronaldo football is beyond football. That's something different then.
Mhm.
So if you then if I made Graham's Ronaldo football, then that's a little bit different then, because that's like, okay, we see what you're doing now. I see you.
Well, Chris Kamara's street football. I think that for freestyle football, like I know you can't term it, you can't use this like you've just said and the chat said you can't copyright the word football, but the end goal is exactly the same. You're trying to differentiate one thing from another using a very similar concept. You're just putting different words around it to make it stand out or be different from the other thing that you're trying to use. You might not be able to copyright these words, but the end goal is exactly the same.
Let's jump back in the chat. Trust me, if Pro Evo released Ultimate Team, it'd all kick off. Yeah,
That's smart enough to use a different name.
Should we all have a game of put? It's put champions this weekend. Success doesn't define the right. If we go by that, then I can outright copy something, market it better, and be fine. Imagine Bibby getting kicked out. Most awkward episode of the Scoop ever. what over? I don't. You mean? Yeah. I mean, Bib, can you just leave, please, Bib? I know it's your house, but just jog on.
Can you leave your room, please? Wait until the show's finished.
That's totally different. They would be. Trust me, actually. They would be using the exact same name. Well, Call of Duty is trademarked, not the Warzone, according to the placement of the logo. No, it's Pro Evo Ultimate Team. Pute. But we'll never know what will happen with that, as Konami haven't used the words Ultimate Team. It's all hearsay at this point until/if it happens. Daniel says, also, we're talking about trademarks, not copyright. Trademarks being logos, names, brands, etc. Copyright being the product. See, that's the finer details that we don't get educated or got care enough about. But yeah, anyway, we'll put a pin in this because it's obviously very early days. This article was only 50 minutes old when we picked it up, so we'll see. I mean, the gamer hadn't even tweeted it at that point in time, so we'll see how it goes. Quick, like finger in the wind. Obviously, we've done a good attempt at playing devil's advocate in this chat. Some vouching for, some vouching against. Do you want Warzone to have to change their name? Do you think they will change their name? Just let us know what you think. I'm interested to see what people generally think will happen. Will Warzone win? And if they do, will it cost them a shitload of money? Robbo, good morning, dude. It's been a while. English gentleman is getting on. Nice. I see your alert on my phone every time you go live. So there you go. Every time I see it, I think, yep, I can relate to that. Getting on, I full on know. I had studied law relating to this at uni, so I'm a nerd. Well, do you know, it's good to have the knowledge. It's good to have the knowledge. I don't. COD will lose because it's the same as mentioning any sequel spin-off by its name, i.e. Star Trek Voyager and Star Trek Enterprise, and so on are known simple as Voyager and Enterprise. Yes, change the name for the lols of watching the chaos afterwards. Epic skill. Some people exist just to watch the world burn. There's a Warzone game on the Apple Store and this turn-based game Warzone. So by that, I'm going with small company trying for a bit of cash unless they do the same with this even newer game. Daniel says, I don't want them to. I don't think they will, but I believe they have a responsibility to put right any impact their usage of the name may have had on terms which may have led to people discovering the older game. I mean,
fuck all. There was zero impact to their game. No one would have heard of it.
I bet it will have had an impact, but it's like, okay, so you launched your game in 2017. We launched Warzone, our Warzone in 2019, 2020, whatever it was. So how much did you earn between 2017 and 2020? 48 quid. Nice. Okay, well, we will give you 48 quid to cover the loss of earnings for that time. Bosh.
I agree with the Google rankings and stuff, but I mean, I'm having a hard time thinking that if I was to just search the word Warzone in Google before Warzone, Call of Duty Warzone came out. I mean, I just made the mistake there before Call of Duty Warzone came out. I'd find it very difficult to think that they would have been top of the search engines. Genuinely, like whatever game this was, I find it very difficult to think that if I typed in the word Warzone 3 years ago, that this game would have come up first. I think a million other things would have come up before that did.
If I reckon if I'd have typed in Warzone game, I'd have got WWF Warzone. Ta-da! So anyway, it will never happen in my opinion. If they've changed their name, they might pull their finger out their ass and release a new map. I don't want a new map. See, I'm an old man. I just want just the same map. Nice. All the time. Robert Daniel can tell you this. I whinge at him about Erangel all the time. So there you go.
Yeah.
Let's get in on now. Business is back up and you'll have to see it. Maybe it will, mate. It's proving it's the issue. Terms like game, Warzone, online. Yeah, I mean, that will, like, we've just seen it then. Just type in Warzone game. Even WWF Warzone. Yes, that's like 1998. So that's 23 years old. Yeah, a little bit different. But you can't find that now unless you put in WWE, WWF kind of thingy. Time for a bonk says, I think Activision should have checked, to be honest. Gary Clark, Call of Duty's all worn. Ironically, WWF Warzone is made by Activision. Touche, yeah. Was it? Yeah, okay, yeah. We can say it wouldn't have had an impact, but that's an opinion not based on fact, and legally it's the facts that matter. Tis true. Anyway, let's move forward. More facts. Oculus. They're planning something. That's factual information for you. See that? Not my best tedious link, but it'll do. VentureBeat have this article. Dean Takahashi says Oculus plans a virtual reality gaming showcase for April the 21st. Anyone got VR? Anyone looking at VR? Well, if you're looking at Oculus, then this might be a little bit of interest to you. Facebook's Oculus division will hold a virtual reality gaming showcase on April the 21st. The first ever Oculus gaming showcase will take place at 3 p.m. Pacific online. It will stream live on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube in the US and Japan. Interesting. Is it not streaming in the rest of the world? Is that not how Twitch works? I don't know. An Oculus spokesperson said, quote, "This is our first event wholly dedicated to the stellar game across the Oculus platform. You can expect new updates to fan-favourite titles, never before seen footage from unreleased games, and a few surprises in store. The participants include Cloudhead Games, Ready at Dawn, and ILMX Lab. Nice. And there will be news to share on Pistol Whip, Lone Echo 2, and Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. Virtual reality has been a tough slog since 2016 when the first modern VR headsets debuted to lackluster fan reaction. But in the fall, Facebook launched its Oculus Quest 2 headset for $400, and that device has been selling well, with estimates of 2 million to 3 million units sold. The wireless VR headset is easier to use and has better graphics than the previous wireless headsets. Oculus said more 60. Okay, I'm gonna assume than, although I haven't read the rest of the sentence in full. Oculus said more than 60 virtual reality games and apps on the Oculus Quest VR headset platform have generated more than $1 million in revenue. Facebook Reality Labs' Mike Verdu said that 6 titles have generated more than 10 million in revenue on the Quest platform, which includes the Oculus Quest and Oculus Quest 2 wireless VR headsets. Anyone interested in VR? You interested in VR, babe?
I am interested in VR. I think it's got a very good future ahead of it. Whether or not it's coming from Oculus, whether or not it's coming from Vive, whether or not it's coming from
PSVR.
Yeah, PSVR. Any of the major hitters, I think it does have a very good future ahead of it. Are we there yet? No. I think we've mentioned it quite a few times on here. The PlayStation VR the last generation VR was a very, very good piece of kit. It was affordable. It just wasn't the best that was in the market at the time. I like the fact that the Oculus has now gone, well, one of them has gone wireless. That means that I can play it anywhere without having to drag my PC, because there's no way in this room that I'm ever going to be able to play VR on my PC. It just will never happen. It's not big enough. But with the VR wireless headsets, I could take that downstairs, and they are very, very good. My sister's got one, and it's a great bit of kit. The future does hold a lot of VR stuff. I mean, did you play the VR headsets at Arcade Club with the Dirt game?
I didn't. There was mega queues for the Dirt game. The only bit that I saw was me absolutely legendary skills on Beat Saber. So
yes. So I mean, that Beat Saber is a fantastic game. The Dirt game with the VR headset was unbelievable. Like, I remember taking my brother, and it was the first time he'd played with VR properly. That isn't the cardboard with Google one where you just slip your phone and it's like the proper one. So when you're driving, you're looking out your window, you can see everything around you. And that is VR at its absolute peak for me. It's just trying to get it into every single home. It's a big ask because they're nearly as expensive as the console itself. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of work to be done, but I think that we're like halfway there. It's just again, it's always comes down to price. I can't afford the Valve Index would be the one that I'd go for, albeit it's the most expensive. I think it's got the most. What's the word I'm looking for? It's got the you can probably get the most out of it, and it's got the best future ahead of it because you can slip it on like a glove, can't you? So if you're playing a gun game, for instance, even if you lift a pinky up, it'd know that you're lifting a pinky up. If you wanted to unclip a magazine from your gun, you push the side of it, the magazine would drop out. You pick one out, it picks up everything to do with your fingers as well as your head and your
He's a
body,
tiger.
which I think is fantastic. But I mean, the ultimate would be that one that we see all the time that's been knocking around for about 10 years, where a guy's on a treadmill and he's being hoisted up with like a vest. And when he's running, your character's running. When you're leaning, your character's leaning.
Full on Ready
All of
Player
these
One.
things, yeah. So these things will eventually happen. It's just how much will it cost and when.
I mean, they do exist. I remember being at EGX. It must have been 6 years ago, and I remember it looked like a Peloton treadmill, but it didn't actually have a movable treadmill. It was basically just a really slidey surface. You just kind of stood in a ball,
Yeah.
and you had almost like a harness when you're on one of those trampoline kind of things wrapped around you, and you could just basically run, and it tracked your movement of your feet across the thing, and you could turn and
That's cool.
so on. And that was like 6 years ago, and that was pretty clunky in reality. But if VR headsets have moved on so much, then you kind of feel that stuff's got to have moved on a lot. I mean, that kind of, whilst it does interest me, I love the idea of having a headset on and just full on turning into Arnie in Commando, like put my headset on, get a couple of like military stripes going across my cheek, and then But in reality, I don't actually want to be legging it, stood in my living room. I know I'm going to get my fucking steps on my Fitbit. No, it's bosh. But do I really want that? I know I'm a bit lazy. No, thank you. So okay, give me the option for that, but also give me the option to just have a push forward stick so I can turn and go forward. Nice. That said, love the idea of VR. I genuinely do. I mean, I don't love the idea of lots of running because I'm an old man. I think I would love it at first. I think the novelty of that would wear off quite quickly, though. But I do love the.
Would it though?
I think of the running and stuff. I think it would. Because like having an exercise bike in the living room while I'm watching a Twitch stream or something like that. It's pretty easy. It doesn't require effort, but obviously the first week of having it, this is fine. But the second week, it's like, can I be asked to even just sit on that and pedal? I mean, I hardly notice it, but the novelty will wear off. So I think for me, that would wear off.
See, I think it'd get you into the zone, you know. Like, I can't be the only person that thinks like this, but if I was to be actively going to play football, that is my idea of exercise. Like going out playing football, you're probably covering 2 or 3 miles. If you're me, you probably cover about a mile because I'm fat and I can't run anymore. But you'd probably cover like 2 or 3 miles pretty easy over 90 minutes. That excites me. I'm getting somewhere. I'm playing something. I'm invested in the game. Running on the street or running around the field on my own does not, and I can't put it any other. It does not interest me whatsoever. It's fucking boring.
I agree.
I can't do it. I need to have something that my brain's thinking I'm participating in something.
A lot of
Let's say with golf.
A lot of people like to go out for a run or go out for a cycle, which I completely understand. But I would much prefer to just do it on a treadmill in my living room watching TV, or sit on a bike.
I need to have a task.
Yeah, exactly. End game. I'm
very so if I'm strapped up and that ceiling's reinforced and can hold my weight as I'm running through a treadmill with a gun in my hand, chances are I'm probably going to enjoy that a hell of a lot more. And I probably would think, I tell you what, I've still got, 20 hours left of this game to be able to complete. And I'm only playing it on easy. I've still got normal and hard to get through. Well, that interests me. That will probably inspire me a little bit more to be able to get on the treadmill and probably run for 2 or 3 more miles.
See, I get that. I think it's slightly different though. Like in terms of, like, a lot of people do go out and do airsofting and play with real world gun stuff, but quite often they will be like, do you know what? Can I be asked going to airsoft today? I can't. And I think that's the thing. Couch gaming is so easily accessible, but that full on VR sort of setup, it requires that extra level of impetus. So I would like it, and if it was a case of, it would almost be more of an event. So last night I was a bit chilled, finished Spider-Man, bosh, just sat in a chair, had a good time, jobs are good. If that was me fucking going and swinging around the living room, I'd probably I'll leave it till Saturday, I can't be asked. So it would be good, but I don't. It'd be an event of a game as opposed to something like that. So yeah, I would like to have. I definitely want VR, and I definitely would like that full immersive element. That would be something that isn't my always gaming. That's my breaking out sort of something special gaming. I mean, imagine how gammy and sweaty your headset would get as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
but yeah, I am. I mean, I'm excited to hear what comes out of this. I'm not the biggest VR fan in the world, but I am very interested in VR. So I would like to have the ability to push this chair back, have a bit of an open space in this room, stick a headset on, and me and Baby have spoke about it loads of times before. We've I think even last week you mentioned PUBG VR at one point in one of the streams. We watched Shroud. It wasn't PUBG, obviously. It was Shroud playing something else and calling it PUBG VR. The idea of being able to play that and having a game that's tactical like PUBG, where you need to share information, and there's the idea of doing that in VR, fucking so good.
Yeah.
Yes, please. So I'm not going to watch this.
You got the front room for it as well.
I could do it in this room, just trash everything as well. Smash! Well, there goes the PlayStation controller. Nice, lovely, lovely. I mean, I would love the idea. I'm not going to watch this stream live. So the Oculus stream is on the 21st April. So next week, if you're interested in that, we will keep you updated if anything major comes out of that. I'm not going to watch it live because I'm not super invested, but I am definitely interested in the future of VR. And you can tell I'm not super invested because whilst I love the idea, whilst I will play VR when I go to a place that has VR capabilities, I don't own a set yet, just because I'm not an early adopter like Daniel was. He mentioned that he has is it a Vive, HTC Vive? So he's an early adopter. He's had one already. He's clearly got a bit more interest in VR as it is. I'm still unsure that we're if I buy now, if the industry will evolve fast enough for me to use that headset, or whether I'll have to buy again, and that's my worry. Like we've seen it with PSVR. Oh, buy PSVR. There's a few games. You still need to buy a PSVR 2 to fully experience the full future of VR. So that's the reason why I'm not jumping in, because I don't want to buy it and then have to buy again. Let's quickly run through because we're running out of time. I'm not interested in Oculus at all. The required connection with Facebook solidified that. Amen. Exactly the same angle as us when we first covered that. So if anyone doesn't know, Oculus was bought by Facebook, and to have an Oculus account, you have to have a Facebook account. That's it. There is no way. I mean, if you had an Oculus account already, you can use it with limited functions for like 2 years, which is probably about 1 year now. But eventually you have to have a Facebook account. Nobody wants that. So yeah, we'll all get the Valve Index. Nice. Daniel's been using VR since the first HTC headset. He has the Vive Pro currently. Ready Player One style. Here we come, future. I mean, that would be incredible. That would be. Do you know what? Fuck it. So we'll turn the ICU studio. We'll just get a wall. It'd be like when you go to a gym and there's just like rows and rows of treadmills. We'll just have like 4 different VR running machines and we'll full on squad it up. Yeah. Someone tell Mark that
that'd be great.
We're putting 15 grand on the work account. It's okay. It's fine.
I tell you what, it'll be the first on the machine. I'm telling you now.
eFit is a good workout on VR. You said the words workout. No, thank you. I see. No. The closest I've been to VR is those old Tomy games that were like a pair of binoculars. You definitely get a setting to multiply the movement speed input, multiply input speed slider. That is, so you could be lazy and walk and make it have you run for sure. Just the thumb, just like it. I'll use a treadmill whilst eating a cake. What's the film?
Life Hacks.
Oh, what's that? That fucking.
It's a Glory.
No, I was thinking the one where there's those blokes from Sheffield that go be strippers. Full Monty, where one of them's like is quite a chubby guy, so he wraps himself in cling film and sits in the shed and then eats a Mars while he's doing it. Sits there wrapped in cling film eating a Mars bar. Nice.
That's me, that. I've just run 4 mile at football. Of course I'm going to take into a Snickers bar at the end of it. Blood sugar levels. That's what I've been telling myself for 10 years.
Gary says, I'm the same as Yuji. When I get home from work, I just want to sit down and play with the controller. I can't be asked set up a VR and prance about like a nutter. Boomer VR. Just to clarify, Facebook equals boomer. I am lost. So it's all right. It's all right. We're here for you. It's okay. I just want a holodeck for my VR. Yes, please. That would be the future. The first one that can create the holodeck. That's what we want. That's what we want. Okay, we'll pick up the pace. Jump into the next bit of news. So, just a reminder, Oculus is having a VR reveal event next week, April 21st. If anything major comes out of that, we will keep you updated. But for now, let's jump into the next bit of news, which is right up Bibby's alley. Not like that, calm down. More like this. Resident Evil Village reportedly has a bonus difficulty that randomizes items and enemies, written by Don Peppiatt of VG247. Just before we jump into it, Bib, does that sound like anything of significance? I mean, random enemies and items, has that been done in a Resident Evil game before?
Yes, it has, yes.
Okay. Let's jump in. A new rumor doing the rounds regarding Resident Evil Village seems to suggest there'll be an unlockable mode in the game that turns the survival horror game into a roguelike with randomized items and enemies. A new rumor circulating about Resident Evil Village hints at an experimental new mode in the game that may unlock once players have completed the main campaign, offering a new challenge in Capcom's survival horror world. Trusted insider Aesthetic Gamer, who we've referenced before in numerous articles, notable industry leaker, not as notable as Mr. T, but there we go. Trusted insider Aesthetic Gamer has posted a variety of notes on Twitter that reveal what players can expect from the game once they've cleared the main story. As per the insider, Capcom toyed with making a similar mode to Ethan Must Die from Resident Evil 7, but ended up expanding it into an expansive difficulty mode in the game. Quote, I don't know the full details / final result of the mode. I feel they may talk about it before release, but I'm aware it makes the game more open, randomizes enemy and item placement, and scale to be extremely difficult, concludes Aesthetic Gamer. If you like challenging gameplay and being perched on the edge of your seat as you fend off all manner of undead nightmares with little to no ammo in your guns, this mode is probably going to be for you. Baby's table's rising. Oh, easy, Tiger. Capcom has not confirmed these reports at the time of writing. Why should we trust what this Twitter user has to say? ? The insider has a pretty good track record when it comes to Capcom leaks and horror game leaks in general. We may hear more about this mode in the next Resi briefing that's due to take place later this month. Quote, a new Resident Evil showcase will be dropping this April, Capcom has announced in an official blog. We don't want to spoil any surprises, so we'll leave it to all of you to speculate on what this upcoming presentation might contain. Bib, as our resident thoughts?
Yes, I think this is fantastic. There has been randomizer mods placed on Resident Evil games previously. I don't think Capcom have ever released a game where each time you play it, everything's different. There has been elements where you play it, maybe playing it on a different difficulty level where things are either there's not many of that things or it's in a completely different side. Of using the first one, for example, different side of the house. But this kind of falls into what we was talking about last week about the dynamic difficulty stuff that we talked about with EA and their single-player games. I do like the thought of playing a game and it being different every time I play it. It might be the same storyline or the same end goal, but just to keep it fresh. So the place where you may end up going to get the armor key isn't there, or you may not have the jewels to be put into the tiger's head to release one of the stones or a set of shotgun shells, things like that. Having those in different places means that whatever picture I've got in the house, in my head of the house and how I get to these places may be the same. I'm just finding different things in different places. That excites me a little bit. The only thing that I think might be a little bit more difficult is not just having it as a randomizer, but the scaling difficulty. Because I don't want it to get into a situation where there may be things where I know they're going to be, and I can run back and take the bullets from, and then end up playing half of the game without a gun. I mean, Resident Evil is all about survival horror and having just about enough to be able to get by. If they make that difficulty so hard that there just isn't enough ammo to be able to get through certain parts. Like there was a bit on Resident Evil Code Veronica where you meet the tyrant on a walkway, and if you've used all your ammo up on that, you can't get past it. It's like you pretty much have to start again. I don't want to get into that situation again because that pissed me off no end when I was growing up, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I'd have to restart the game and just conserve all my ammo. That is the whole point of Resident Evil, but don't make it so difficult that it turns you off, because a lot of people probably won't give it a second chance. So I like the way that this is going in terms of randomizing difficulty and randomizing items after you've completed it. That excites me. Just don't make it so that it's more than challenging to the average person. I'm more than willing to be able to give these games more than enough time to be able to get through what I need to do. But yeah, I think they've made a lot of goodwill recently. Don't make it too difficult that people don't want to play it. I mean, when you played it once, a lot of people probably just put it to the side and never play it again. So it's not really a subject for most people. This is obviously aimed at the hardcore.
Yeah, see, I agree. I like the idea of things being mixed up, but there's a reason that ammo's in that place and that item and those herbs are in that place, because you're more likely to need them at that specific point in time. So if you fully randomize it, you can kind of break it a little bit there. Daniel says, I can see the headline now. Speedrunners hate this one game design trick. You won't believe what it is. And then that's when you get the little
Every time.
the little call out. Experts are baffled. Oh my god! Yeah, for sure.
Big red arrow pointing somewhere.
That was me doing the hands on the face, Macaulay Culkin face scream emoji, by the way. So okay,
That's on the thumbnail.
we will. You got them right. We will fast forward past that one. So there is a bonus dynamic difficulty coming potentially to Resident Evil. We may find out in the reveals later this month. If there is any content, well, there's a couple of things you can do. You can either just join us on the scoop the next day, and you'll find out the full coverage, or you just watch Bibby's Twitter feed as he spaffs it out through a live watch along. Oh my god, that's pretty much
true.
what happens.
It's true.
Anyway. Let's jump into maybe the last story. I think this could be the last story. There is a final story that will follow potentially. We might pick it up, but this one could be the last one for now. Anyway, Andy Robinson at VGC says Director confirms Days Gone 2 was pitched but won't verify the Sony rejection report. So this was something that started to surface last week. Days Gone apparently isn't getting a sequel because the teams at Bend have been put to work on something else. Anyway, this follows up that. So X-Bend at lead says Days Gone 2 would have featured a shared universe with co-op. Days Gone director has responded to a report claiming that plans for Days Gone 2 were rejected by Sony. Speaking during a lengthy live stream with God of War creator David Jaffa, Mr. Cake, former Sony Bend game director Jeff Ross, my bad, Jaffa Cake. That wasn't even what threw me off there, Jaffa Cake. It was the Jeff Ross. In my mind, it was Jim Ross. I'm just fucking WWE everywhere. By God.
Oh, God.
It's all right.
Cake.
It's all right. He was on the stream and then he left and he came back. It was the return of Jafar. Anyway, speaking during a lengthy live stream with God of War creator David Jaffa, former Sony Bend game director Jeff Ross confirmed that he was at one point working on a Days Gone 2 pitch, but due to an NDA with his former employer, couldn't confirm if it had been cancelled. However, he did reveal some details on his sequel pitch, including plans for a significant online mode, and heavily suggested that the sales of the first game might not have been strong enough to persuade Sony to greenlight it. Ross announced his departure from Bend in December, along with Days Gone creative director John Garvey. And according to a Bloomberg report published this week, key staff had left Bend following the unsuccessful Days Gone 2 pitch and frustration at then being assigned to work on Naughty Dog projects as a support team. On Sunday, Ross, who's confirmed he's now joined Mortal Kombat studio NetherRealm, said he was at one point working on a Days Gone 2 pitch, but claimed that his departure from Bend was due to personal reasons and had nothing to do with the status of the sequel. Ross confirmed several elements of Bloomberg's report, including parts of Bend being assigned to work on Naughty Dog projects, but would not outright confirm that Days Gone 2 had been canned. However, the director heavily suggested that the original game might not have generated enough sales to warrant an expensive follow-up. Asked what Sony's reasoning could be for reportedly rejecting plans for a Days Gone sequel, Ross said, I don't think it's publicly confirmed what the status of Days Gone 2 is. I don't want to be the guy who's the official source for whatever that is. To answer your question, in that context, I will just say that the calculus for Sony at this point is, when a game like Days Gone started, we were 45 people. We were walking around asking how we could build an open world game with 45 people. And the answer was, we grew. We changed our numbers from 45 to something like 120. He added, there was a starting budget for Days Gone, which was big, but it's not where we ended. We ended at a much higher number, and I think that number is then probably a starting point for the next one. Sony, with these big AAA games, they're not cheap games to make. The first Siphon Filter, I think, cost $1 or $2 million. The second one was definitely $2 million because we did it in a year. So the return of investment on those is great, but for games where you have to sell 4 or 5 million copies just to break even, there's got to be a confidence in the return, because Sony doesn't have the cash that Microsoft does, and they've got to use it very intelligently, and they've got to stay focused on a diverse portfolio. On his departure, Ross said it had nothing to do with status or sequel. Do you know, we can stop there. We can stop there. We don't need to go into anything about the departure of Big Jim Ross, aka Jeff Ross, from Ben Studios. But what we can take is that Days Gone 2 maybe wasn't canned. He hasn't confirmed that. Is there anything we can really take then from this? I mean, there's a good bit of information in there, but babe, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Days Gone is a fantastic game. Again, I never got around to finishing it because the fucking sawmill pissed me off. I will go back and play it at some point though. It is a fantastic game. A lot of people say it's so slow to get into, but what's the rush? Like it's a lot of when people say it takes like an hour to get into a film of like a 3-hour film. Of course it will. Like you don't want action the entire way through. It's all building towards something. If you stick around long enough, you may end up getting something out at the end of it. I really, really enjoyed this game. I think the reason why it's come back into the news, and a lot of people probably will be pissed now, is because one, it was maybe 2 years old now, but this game is available on your PlayStation 5 collection, and it was given away as a PlayStation monthly game very, very recently. So a lot of people are probably picking it up for the first time and completed it very recently. So they're like, why isn't there going to be a sequel? I mean, it's taken me 2 years to be able to play it. This is me talking. It's not taking me 2 years to play it, but now why isn't there a sequel? If people wanted a sequel that badly, I think they would have voiced it a lot sooner. And there was just other projects that are taking priority. I mean, the main thing out of the article was that Siphon Filter, the original one, was made on $1 million. What a game that was! And I can't believe it only cost $1 million to be able to make, because I can guarantee they would have got a lot more back for that. But yeah, I think it's more of an uproar now because the game has recently been put into people's hands. So I think they're probably just Sony just taking it with a pinch of salt. People want this hot property now. It's going to take 2 or 3 years to be able to make that game. Is the same people who are wanting it now going to want it in 3 years' time? That's what they need to weigh up.
See, I think Sony are very good at marketing their games when they do it well. I know that's kind of obvious. They're good at doing things when they do it well, but that's kind of how it went in terms of Spider-Man was everywhere. The Last of Us, everywhere. God of War, everywhere. Horizon Zero Dawn, everywhere. Forbidden West, not so much right now, but I think that's a PS5 thing. There's not been much out of Sony at the moment, so I think that's just a conscious decision to not put too much out whilst nobody can play games on the next gen. Days Gone 2, I genuinely missed it when it was at E3. And I keep going back to the E3 demonstration where it shows you that thing where I think it is the sawmill. I've never actually seen the sawmill. I just assumed it was the sawmill because you mentioned the sawmill, and I've seen some.
It's not a sawmill.
Oh, well, this guy's running through like fucking barns and like sky walkways. It could be a farm for all I know. Anyway, it was a hugely intense video, and I didn't see it live, and I didn't see it from any PlayStation channels. Obviously, E3 you've got bombarded with news. I can't remember if it was the year that I was at E3. I don't think it was. I think it was the year previously. But I picked it up on one of those like fucking gaming Bible things that just comes up in your Facebook feed, and I was like, okay, this actually looks pretty decent, and I looked into it, and it was like, okay, Sony first party games. Like, oh, this actually looks very decent, and I missed a lot of it. I don't feel like it was pushed as heavily.
Yeah.
So you've got a game that wasn't pushed as heavily as others. You've got a game that was a little bit more buggy than you usually would expect for first party games. When it first launched, there was quite a few issues with Days Gone. So you got people weren't aware of it, and then when people were aware of it, it was a little bit buggy. And then what else have you got? You've got a zombie-ish first-party Sony game. So what, like The Last of Us? I'll just stick with The Last of Us, thank you. So I don't feel like Days Gone ever really got a full fair swipe. And I think the reason people are starting to be a bit butthurt about it now is exactly what Bibby just mentioned. Whether it was PS Plus or the PS Collection for PS5, I don't know what it was, but it was free or is free, whatever it is. And a lot more people have played it, and a lot of people really enjoy it. And the people that played it early on as well, like Spike, absolutely adores that game. He even tweeted at Ice Cream. Yeah, exactly. He tweeted at Ice Cream yesterday saying gutted, or yesterday, last week maybe, that he's gutted if it's true that Days Gone isn't getting a sequel. So I understand why people would be a little bit disappointed now, and I understand why PlayStation might have pulled away from committing to a sequel, but I feel like right now this is the time when if you're gonna make a Days Gone 2, you build off of the back of that, because you can build so much hype off of that.
I've just checked on how long to beat for this game. How long do you reckon it takes to complete this game? Main story and the side missions.
If you are Bibby, can you just do a sideways 8, like the infinity symbol, like forever? 40, 30 hours?
Well, on average, it takes someone 55 hours to be able to complete this game, including the main story and the side missions. Which I think for a game of this size, I think that's a very good figure, and that's what kind of annoys me when people say they didn't give it long enough. This game is a very long game, and they say it's a very slow build at the beginning. It might be a bit drab. It's just setting the scene. Like if you play this game for 8 to 10 hours at the beginning, and you're getting through it, and you're starting to realize where you need to place your weapons for taking down a horde, or upgrading your skills and going out and doing side missions and things like that to make yourself a little bit more powerful, upskill a little bit. It will take about 8 hours to be able to get past that first bit. It's not even about not enjoying those first 8 hours. There isn't a point of that game where I seriously didn't enjoy it. The only part that pissed me off was the bit that I couldn't do, and it wasn't through lack of trying as well. I probably played this game for about 42 hours. So technically, I'm still 13 hours away from completing it. I know still that's nowhere near the case, because there's still tons of side missions I've not got to yet. So I could probably play this game for 70 hours, but I'm just stuck at a particular moment that's pissed me off, and I can't get past it. And I refuse to put the difficulty down on it.
So just let Spike jump on with PS5 remote play kind of thing. He'll do it for you. He said he did it on his second go, so just let him run through. Boop, boop, boop.
But I mean, if you haven't played this game yet, honest to God, and you've got a PlayStation 5, or you download it as part of your free monthly stuff, just play it. Please give it 5 or 6 hours. Just get through whatever you think that may be a drab part of it, because I can guarantee there is a very, 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 very good game underneath that. It's just a part of. I didn't find it boring. A lot of people claim that they did. Obviously, everyone's part of their opinion, but this is a very good game, and if you've been sleeping on it, don't, just try it, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I mean, I really enjoyed Marvel's Avengers the first couple of hours. I thought it was super good intro to a game, but then it had no substance afterwards, according to everyone else. I've not played past that.
Mm-hmm.
So just because a game could be good at first doesn't mean it's going to be great in the end. And just because a game might be a bit slow at first doesn't mean it's going to be shit in the end. You've kind of got to play through the thing in its entirety to get the full picture. If that was the case, nobody would ever get to see the end of Sopranos, because the first couple of episodes were decent, to be fair, maybe in the first season, but then when you get to like the mid seasons, it's a bit slow, and it's like absolutely worth it when you get to the end. So yeah, you got to see it through in its entirety. And
persevere.
I just worry for the future of Days Gone. If PlayStation now, when Days Gone is starting to get garner some favour, if it doesn't do it now, we might not ever get a sequel to it, which would be a shame.
Who knows? E3 again this year?
Yeah, maybe.
There you go.
Well, not Sony. Not Sony. But it'd be
yeah. Well, very good point.
The Sony celebration thing. What was it called? State of Play. We'll have a State of Play live or whatever. PSX. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us. That's the end of the show. We do have another article. Do you know what? I'll give you the quick headline. Let me take that off the screen and put that on the screen. PS3 game patches have reportedly started disappearing ahead of the store closure. Sony is set to close legacy PlayStation digital stores this summer, which we told you about already. But PlayStation 3 users are claiming that some games have stopped downloading patches ahead of Sony's planned digital store closure. Members of the PSN Profiles Forum have listed over 30 games that have allegedly stopped detecting their previously released updates, including first-party titles Journey, Gran Turismo 5, and Twisted Metal. Okay, you can get the idea of where we're going from that. But yeah, we've covered it previously. Like PS3, PS Vita, and PSP stores all being closed. So, yeah, great if you've got those games digitally and job's good. Nice. Not so great because you won't be able to re-download them because the stores won't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, bad times, but there's not much we can say on that we haven't said in this discussion. I think we've covered it twice previously. So, yeah, there we go. It's starting to happen, which is a shame. What also is a shame is that this is the end of the show. Thank you very much for joining us for another hour and a half, as it is at the moment. So about an hour and 20 minutes-ish of video game talk. We appreciate you being here every day. Thari and Drake, thank you very much for the host. Appreciate it. Anyone that just lingers in the chat, we appreciate it too. Anyone that gets involved with the chat, we absolutely appreciate that. As mentioned a few times, we do this on the side. So we do work in the games industry. We work for a company called Jelly, which is where the name ice cream comes from. The jelly stuff comes first, the ice cream stuff we do around the side, but you guys sticking around, adding the views, adding the hosts, dropping the subs, it all helps us to keep the lights on, so we very, very much appreciate you all being around. We are going to disappear. There won't be a follow-up show today, so we will find someone to drop a raid on. If you want some extra channel points, stick around for the raid, because that way you get a few extra channel points that you can spend on things like making me sit up straight, or, you know, other bits. Click on the channel points icon just down there. You can see it. I mean, you can make me play PUBG with a level 3 helmet, but yeah, nobody wants to do that. Do you know, actually, I've never even shown it off. You can make me play PUBG wearing a Power Rangers helmet now. Yeah, but that's for another time. Before all of that happens, though, Bib, is there anything that you would like to add in before we disappear for the day?
Yes, sit up straight, Graham. We've used their channel points purposely for this reason.
Yeah, my posture is wonderful. If you wonder what posture check is, you see it. I have a very, very bad posture. Very bad. So this is how I should sit. This is how I do sit. So when you see me, I'm sat here like that. I should be like that. I genuinely lose about a foot of height because of that standing straight. But there you go. Anyway, babe, sorry, what were you saying?
But on a more show-related path, if you do want to help shape our show and get involved with it, there's two ways that you can do that. First of all, find us on social media. It's @Tascream Uploads across all major social media platforms. Or if you want to try and, you know, submit some articles, have your voice heard, then get into our Discord. The areas are now in the chat. If you are watching this on demand or listening to this on any of our podcast services, just look into the description. All the links that you will require are there for you. All we need from you is a URL plus your thoughts and impressions. We will then give you our thoughts and impressions on the very next show, which will be at what time tomorrow, Mr. Graham Day?
Well, like every day, it will be absolutely bang on the money at 10 a.m.
Massive-ish.
Ish. Yeah, 10 a.m.-ish. We'll be back tomorrow 10 a.m.-ish, and we'll have some gameplay in the afternoon, which will be nice. We will see you then. Until then, have yourselves a fantastic day. Stick around for the raid. Get yourself some extra channel points. And what else do you got to do, babe?
2 words. Stay frosty.